Well, this viewer has a wonderful little request. He says, I'm a wildlife artist and illustrator, but I want to start plein air painting. And he goes on to say, I was wondering if you could do a video on what tools or techniques would be helpful for someone new to plein air. What kind of easel do you recommend? What do I do with dirty water? How do I decide visually where the frame of what I'm looking at will be? Okay, this will be a good one for you. Well, plein air painting is one of the most exciting things that we can do. It is so much different when you're working in plein air than when you're working from photos. If you're afraid of plein air painting, maybe this tip might, or this combination of tips might be helpful for you. So I made just a little outline here of the request this person made. I want to start with, first of all, I recommend, if you've never done plein air painting before, don't go any further than your own yard. If you have a yard where you can go outside into where you're close to your home, where you're close to where the stuff is that you need, because if you do that, when you get into the activity, you can discover, oh, I didn't think to bring paper towels, or I didn't think to bring this, or I'm going to need bug spray, or I'm going to need sunscreen. You can think of those things. Those will be the things you'll need to take with you on plein air. So I recommend always start in your own yard. If you don't have a yard, borrow one from one of your friends or family. So there's the first thing. Now, I'm going to go to his fourth request first, because before you ever set up to do plein air painting, pinpoint what you're interested in. Pinpoint what you want to paint. And I have a little gizmo that I made. I think I invented it, but if I didn't invent it, I thought of it before I ever saw it done. And that is a kind of an adjustable window maker, you might call it, adjustable square. And what I do here is I take a corner, I just cut out corners or L shapes from any kind of board. This I just used a lightweight foam core, but any kind of board will do this. Just cut out an L shape like that. Give yourself a little space here. Cut out two of those, and then I Velcro the back of them. You can get Velcro strips from Walmart or Amazon. No, not very expensive. So get some of those Velcro strips. They'll have glue. They already have the sticky stuff on the back that will stick, and just Velcro back sides of both of them. Then what do you use that for? On one L, I forgot to point this out. I make myself a little handle like this. You'll see one in just a moment. On the other one's just a straight little L shape like that. Now, because they're Velcroed, I can stick them together. Like this into whatever frame I find. But I like to start when I go out in plein air. I'll start with an overall scene that pulls me to it, whatever it is. And sometimes I just say, okay, I want to go to the river, or I maybe want to go up in the mountains somewhere where I know there's a wonderful little road or something like that. You know, first thing I always do is this. I hold my thumbs together like this. I do this, and I just scan the area and look for something that I want to really zoom in on. And when I find it, wherever it is in the area, and however close I want to be or however far away I want to be from, I can push my hands forward like that, and I can get a close-up. I can bring my hands back like that, and I can get more of a wide angle view. So that's where I start, and there's where I'm going to position myself so that I'm looking straight at. You don't want to position yourself so that you're doing this, because if you're looking straight at your scene, then you have got that right there, so you can compare the scene with what you're doing. Then the next thing, I'll take my equipment over, and actually before I set up my equipment, I'll go ahead and adjust my window. So I will then use my little frame. Of course, I have to turn it back, doesn't matter, like that, so the Velcro will stick. And I don't want to do a square painting. If I want to do a square painting, I'll do this. Want to be a rectangular painting horizontal, then I'll adjust it horizontal like this. If I want it to be a rectangular painting vertical, you see I can do something like that. If I want to really do a panoramic view of something, see, I can do this. So I can change this. I can change this to whatever shape and size I want. So let me just do something hypothetically, we say there. Now I've got, wait a minute, I want to do that differently, like this. So I've got my handle on the bottom. There we go. Okay, so now I've got that frame. I've got a little horizontal frame. Once you find your frame that you want for your painting, then get your rig set up where you're going to paint, and then you have to find some sort of clip. This is what I use. So I just clip that, like if I wanted it vertical, I clip that to the bottom, just prop it right there. Sometimes it takes a little jimmying to get it to stay. Prop it right there. Now I can look straight through that into my scene, or turn it this way, same thing. Prop it right there. And now I can look straight through there and see the thing that I have decided I wanted to paint on to begin with. Now I want to show you, then I'll set up my easel, and so now I'm going to go backwards now. When you are all accustomed to doing plein air painting, you may still be doing it in your yard. When you have the full rig, what I like most is to have a pochade box. The pochade box is it's what I have right here. It's a little box that folds up. It has the easel part right here, and it folds up, and it can sit either on a table or you can attach it to a tripod. So rather than have the French easel, a lot of people like French easel. You check that up in the catalogs or online. French easel, the French easel is made of one piece. Yes, you can fold it up and sit on a table, but that's a little bit awkward. So my preference is the pochade box with the tripod. Is a lot more versatile. So that's what I end up with as is my total rig. But let me go back and make a suggestion for those of you who've never painted in plein air before. Start out with a very simple kit. Now, the simplest kit I have, you can tell this little box has been with me since 1964. I know that dates me a bit, but it has served me very well. And it is my little travel box. It's one that when I go out the door and know I'm going to be maybe going on a short trip or whatever, it goes in the car with me. It stays available all the time. But it's not a bad idea to start out with something simple like that, so that when you go outside, you are not overwhelmed with lots of equipment. Now, and inside here, inside my little box, you see I have everything I need for doing a small painting. So I have, this is just, I have this one set up to work with gouache. And you see, I have here just a little bit of the block of a watercolor block, just a very little bit of it. I don't need a whole block, so it's just a little a portion of a watercolor block, and I can tear off sheets like that as I need them. I just set that up right there like that. For doing sketches, I always have a little sketchbook in, because I always like to get started with a sketch and a notan, for those of you who are used to my notan process. Here's another, this is another little block of watercolor paper that I keep along with me too for making, smaller studies. So I've got two sizes there. This is my watercolor kit. I won't go into that, But in here, this opens up with watercolor. Well, I'll just go ahead and open it and show you. Here, this is the little field, called little field kit, and it opens up like that. It's got the watercolor. This has my water in it here. And so that's just a very simple little kit that will go with me wherever I go. And so I have in my box whatever I'm going to need. So starting out in plein air, painting in plein air in your own yard with just a very simple kit is the best way, I think, to get you going, because you can ease into the whole process of plein air painting. So that's what I recommend for getting started. Once you are feeling confident, and by the way, using something like just a watercolor kit just for doing quick studies, or a gouache kit, in that it makes it a lot easier for you. And then I want to go on and answer some of the questions he asked about here. Well, it's actually one question. What do you do with dirty water? If you're working with watercolor or gouache or acrylic, you will have dirty water. Now, I usually just empty my water wherever I am, because usually if it's one of those mediums, the water is just going to kind of soak into the ground. And I don't know if acrylic water, dirty water, is going to affect it. You might just find some sand to empty your acrylic water in. When I'm working in oil, I have solvent, and I always bring a jar, keep a solvent in a jar. I just kept that jar and put it back in my kit. When I'm ready to empty that, I dispose of it in sand, and then have the trash people to pick it up. They know what to do with it. Going from this simple kit to the more sophisticated kit, you can get kind of in between. If you're going to a more sophisticated kit and you want now to begin to go outside, okay, if you want to be just a little bit more sophisticated, not ready quite yet to go out full force, get yourself a little lightweight backpack. And you might even get a stool, a three-leg stool like this that folds up and goes in the backpack. That won't hurt, because it gives you an opportunity to sit down. Or sometimes I'll carry this with me in the car when I'm taking my kit, if I think I might be in a place where I'd like to sit for a while. Just put in the backpack whatever you have discovered you're going to need. So I won't go through all that, because most of what's in here is sort of a repetition of what's in here, except I have this one set up with gouache instead of watercolor. So that's the backpack idea. A lot of people like to put their pochade box and their easel and all in this one of these big sophisticated backpacks. But if you find that the weight of all of that is a little bit too much, I have a better solution for you. And that's my favorite way, because I don't do very well handling a lot of weight on the backpack if I've got especially lots of walking to do. So here's my solution to that, and I think this is a wonderful thing. These kinds of things are available in various forms, but this one is from Jerry's Artorama. No, this is from Cheap Joe. Joe Miller, I think, designed this. I had to be careful about who I credit that with. You see what we have here? This will open. You can load your pochade box. Once the pochade box is closed, you can open this part of this gig, put your pochade box and all of your bigger stuff, including your folded up tripod, will go right in here. And it's got this wonderful little business right here where you can load other stuff. You've got all these little compartments where you can put stuff that you're going to need. You see, we've got this little compartment. We've got this little compartment. Still got stuff in there. So you can load all that stuff up with what you need. And let me show you the beauty of this little gig. It's absolutely a wonderful little gig. It's got two handles. One handle's right here if you want to carry it like a suitcase. That one handle's right here if you want to pull it on its rollers. And so there, you see, it has rollers. It rolls beautifully. You can roll it through the woods. You can roll it over rocks. You can roll it just about any place you'd want to go. It has this wonderful telescopic handle like that, so that something like this You can put all of your gear in. The only thing missing from this would be an umbrella, which you might need so that you can shade your painting and your palette from the sun. There are other videos on the internet that explain that. James Gurney is one that I would recommend that you check out for using some sort of a sunshade. The only other thing I can think of to say to you about, or to suggest to you about what you would need, would be providing for yourself. You'll check that out when you go out in your yard. You might need bug spray. You might need a sunblock. You might need a hat of some sort. But what you will need to do is check out when you go in your yard, as you see there are things you need, that then needs to go into your permanent kit. Now, there are all kinds of suggestions people have made about the ideal plein air setup, but each individual artist has a variation on that. So you have to find for yourself what works best for you, and you're going to discover that when you begin very, very simply, just with the bare bones of your art supplies. Very simply, go out into your yard, paint, and as you need stuff there, go into your house and get it, but put it on your list of permanent stuff to go with you every time you do plein air. Okay, let's go through. The equipment, you need to start out lightweight, first of all, very, very simple. And then if you want to go up to a full rig, you can choose to do that. The kind of easel I told you about. What do? You dirty water. Some people are going to complain that, and when I say you just dump it. Watercolor water doesn't have any harm in it. Wash water is perfectly safe just to dump someplace because it's going to disappear. Acrylic water, I think maybe pour it in some sand if you can. And someplace where there's not stuff growing, maybe gravel or something like that. And then one of the most important things is deciding on your composition. Where are you going? Where are you going to paint? What are you going to paint? That's how you decide where to set yourself up. Okay, that's my suggestion. I hope you have a lot of fun with that. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianneMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.